Welcome to Women's Circle, Carene.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so wonderful to talk to you. It's been a long time coming. I was like, I put this in the works and here it is.
I miss your face. I feel like I haven't seen you in so long.
Oh, it
Just
has
looking
been so long.
back at them.
It's so long. But yeah, I guess you're such an inspirational woman and mother, and I feel like it's so fitting to have you on this circle to talk about where you've come from. And I think even more than the amazing work that I've seen you do, I love the real advice that you give your mothers, and it shows a real inner strength, but also the inner work that you're doing. So
Mm.
that's what I want to get to today.
Mhm.
So I know a little bit about your background, that you started in corporate, but let's go back there. Where have you come from to where you are today?
Wow, I was one of those kids that really hated school. I barely attended, so much so that my dad had to quit his job. He was working overseas um, on an oil rig kind of thing, and he had to quit to make me go to school because I was just skipping too much school. And anyway, I couldn't wait to finish school. I finally did. Didn't go to university and basically just went straight into a retail job. And from high school until now, I've always been in a kind of customer service kind of role. And a lot of people hate it, but I love it. I just love being around people, chatting to people. Um, so that's kind of where a little bit of where I came from. Um,
Do you remember why you hated school so much?
yeah, I do. It was because I really felt deep down that I just did not like being put in these boxes and told what to do. And, this is how we do life, Monday to Friday, 9 to 3. I just really resisted that. I don't know. There was something in me that I was like, I just don't, yeah, I don't know. I can't really explain
So
it.
fitting for where the work you do now. You're like, no, and I'm going to do it this way. And I love it. You're actually an entrepreneur at heart. It's brilliant.
Oh,
School, you took up a retail job, and then
yeah.
what happened?
And then what happened? And then I just got to know some people and made some connections, and I scored some really cool roles. There was, I guess, just before I had kids, I had a marketing role, and I thought it was my dream job. And I was the marketing manager for Scotch and Soda, which is this beautiful European brand. And I was going to these great launch parties, and going down to spring summer launch for anyway, they were flying me to Amsterdam, which is where their head office was. And it was great. I thought I was just living the life. And then I got made redundant. And it was like, whoa, holy shock to the ego. And that was really tough, actually. And then 2 months later, my first pregnancy, I miscarried. And then a couple months after that, I landed a job that it just felt wrong. It was so wrong. It wasn't necessarily that bad. It was a marketing role for a non-for-profit, but there was just something that every time I walked in the door, I was like, I really, really hate this. So
Mm.
that year, I guess, was like a year of redundancy, miscarriage, and that job that I really didn't like. And so that was kind of a bit of a tough year.
You
But
say,
then I felt pregnant with Bella, and yeah, here we are.
do you think that year, though, do you think that was the beginning of your awakening?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. The whole spirituality thing, I grew up in a family that was very, so my mum is Thai, she's Buddhist, the whole, spirit, reincarnation, karma, those kinds of conversations were very normal growing up. And I always grew up like that, but I kind of lost it in my 20s, when I was partying and doing all of that. And then when all of that happened, that year of like hell, yeah, it came back.
And can you reflect now on the main lessons that taught you that year of absolute resilience? Or maybe that was the lesson.
That there was nothing on the outside that was going to help, and that I really need to just needed to focus on myself, focus on my mind, well, like listen to myself. I knew that deep down, I knew intuitively what was right and what was wrong, and I had been ignoring that for so long. And yeah, I just kind of knew that there was nothing out there that was going to help. It was all inner work.
That's
Yeah.
important. And I think you just saying like you knew intuitively right and wrong.
Mm.
We all have,
Mm.
but it's so easy to ignore until we're sick, until things just go wrong, wrong, wrong. And yeah, it's like when you start listening, wow, actually the world opens up, right?
Mm.
And maybe not straight away, you know,
Mm.
because there's lessons, but yeah, thanks for sharing that. So you got pregnant with Bella, and how was your pregnancy?
Fine, actually, the pregnancy was fine. The birth was a little bit not so fine. I went through, I had both of my girls through the public system, and which was great. Honestly, it was great. But they didn't do the ultrasounds like I don't know, it seems like they do it really regularly through the private system. But they kind of just felt around and did use that doppel, what's it called?
Doppler, yeah, same.
Yeah. They were kind of like, yeah, it's all fine, it's all fine. But then I went into labour and found out last minute that she was breech, and we kind of had to do this emergency Caesar, and it was like all a bit hectic. But honestly, I didn't have a idea of, I didn't have this kind of dream about what my birth was going to be like. I didn't plan it. I was just kind of go with the flow. I didn't read the books. I didn't do the thing. I was just pretty chill about it. But I wasn't so chill after I gave birth.
Cool.
That's when it all fell apart.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Oh, well, I always wanted to be a mum. And I guess, it was something I thought about since I was little, really. I had ideas of what motherhood was going to be like, and I loved kids and thought it was going to be this beautiful, kind of dreamlike time, and it just wasn't. And I just didn't know what I was doing. She was a really tough baby, and my anxiety, which I'd never had before, all of a sudden I just had this anxiety. It just came out of nowhere, and man, it was just tough. And the sleep deprivation and the questioning yourself and your decisions, and not
it's so, I hear it so often.
Mm.
And it's, but the anxiety that came out of nowhere, I resonate with that as well. But now I can kind of look back and see like, maybe it didn't feel like that. Like it didn't feel like the dread or the panic but I realize there's probably levels of control that I've always been in until I wasn't, right?
Yeah.
And sort of motherhood does that to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, there is no control.
Which is our biggest lesson, that there is zero control.
Oh, yeah, you've got to relinquish that. Yeah.
So how, like, at what point were you aware of what was happening within you, that you were like, actually, this journey, I need help, or I need something else, or like, when did that kind of click in place for you?
Probably when Dave went back to work, so pretty early, because he only had 2 weeks off, I think. And when I was alone with the baby, and there was no reprieve. It was just, I couldn't like just say, here, take the baby while I go and shower or whatever. So yeah, pretty early on. But I have always been one of those, I've always wanted to be, I guess, perceived as one of those capable, put together, I got this kind of women. And so even though I knew that I needed help, it took me months to actually go, holy moly, okay, this is legit. I really need to just get over myself and just go and seek some help.
Yeah. That's awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you did seek help, what services did you reach out to? Because this kind of helps other women who might be feeling similar.
I just went down the child health mothers group path.
Yeah.
But it was full and it was waitlisted. And then I didn't try anything else. That's when I put the website together.
Yeah. So tell us about this. So it's like you came out of a need. You were literally like, I want a mothers group.
Yeah.
Season one, I will make one. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's how I've made every decision. That's how the business has evolved. It's always been, what would I want out of a mothers group? So yeah, it was waitlisted and it was full, and they basically said, sorry, like, good luck.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, as I used to work in marketing, I put the website together and day one it was full.
Wow.
And I just knew that there was something in it. And so it was a really tough first 12 months because I didn't really know what this business was, but I knew that there was something in it. Like the first year, it wasn't this 10-week program. It was this, you can book a single session and come along and come back if you enjoyed it. But then I quickly figured out that you can't build connections in one 45-minute session. So I was like, okay. So it kind of evolved over time into more of a 10-week thing where, people were kind of not forced, but because they'd paid in advance, there was more accountability to kind of come every week. And because now I know 5 years later, after running the business, it's not until week 4, week 5 until people really start to the walls start coming down and they can really connect and let go and just have those open, honest conversations. So yeah, that's how the business came about, I suppose.
I mean, and like that's how businesses should be built, right? It's like there's a need, there's a gap in the market, and but it's built with heart. Like you were that mum that was like, I just need a group.
Yeah.
So and you did it, you built it.
Well, I think, I talk to lots of women now who want to start their own business after they've had a baby because they want that flexibility and they want the option to be creative with their business and all of that stuff. And I find that a lot of the women that I talk to, there's this kind of analysis paralysis. They try and run the numbers first, like, okay, they try and create a product or a service and then try and draw customers to that product or service. But I felt like I'd found my customers, mums, and I was just trying to morph my business to suit them. I was kind of trying to do it the other way around. I think if you get bogged down with the numbers and the analytics, like, it's just, you have to, like what you said, you kind of just have to go with your heart and what feels right and kind of let that lead you. Like, it's still a business at the end of the day, and you kind of have to balance profitability with the social conscious stuff. But I think, yeah, it's that dance, isn't it? I don't know, you would know the same thing. You do a very bit similar.
Yeah, I mean, the dance, it's the dance, isn't it? And it's
yeah.
And I think the big thing that we're both in the business of is creating community. Because that's what was missing, or that is what's missing, that we realize within ourselves. Like, we only create what we need, right? We can say it's about everyone else, but it's like, it's a deep thing within you. Like, I'm gonna find my community.
Yeah.
And then it evolves, like you said. But like, I so agree, you can't put a price in the beginning on like, I'm only going to do it if it's making this much money, because it's like you're already in it for the wrong reasons. Like, because small business is bloody hard. And like, you've got to back yourself 100%, because like, love people, but they don't care.
Oh, the number of times I've had people, very it comes from a nice place, say, oh, you're so lucky, I wish I had that idea. And man, it is so hard work. It is not luck. Yes, the idea is 10%, and then it's like 90% of 24-hourness, constantly thinking about X, Y, Z. Yeah.
And you don't like, you're not coming home to a weekly paycheck. You don't have the super. You don't have the holidays. You don't like. There's so many things, right? I get a lot of statements like, "You're doing so well."
Mm.
Am I? You know what I mean? Like it's sort of, yeah. And I mean, we just say this stuff because it's like I really want women to find their passion, and I think having a baby is the greatest opening for transformation of self. It is.
Yeah.
It is a spiritual awakening, whether you think it is or not.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
every single thing that came up for you as a child is going to be re-triggered by this child, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
an opportunity for you to do your work.
Yeah.
So why not pave the way? Why not like do what you want to do? We're kind of, I could go on a bit of a rant, but we're kind of stuck in this patriarchal system that's, about safety and working, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and only having weekends. And I think, that's the old way.
Mm.
What's important to you? And I guess that's what I'd love to know. So like while you're building this business, what's happening to you as Carene, like as this spiritual being that's evolving alongside this business?
I have never felt so content. And there's a knowing that what I'm doing right now is what I'm meant to be doing right now.
Yes.
It's not about the money at all. At all. I don't even know. I'm terrible with numbers and
Same.
like
Do I have enough to buy craft materials for the group?
Yeah. Oh,
I hear it. It's hard.
I need to get better at, because there are long-term plans here and I need to get on top of it. But up until now, it's never really, I don't know, what this business has done for me. It's a creative, spiritual endeavor. It's not really, it is a business, but to me, it's not really, it's like, it's me coming into my own and figuring out what I love, and holy moly, this is.
And what have you found that you love so much?
Honestly, I'm sitting in the reception area here and I'm looking at the door. This is where all the women just walk into the door, and I don't know, I just love everything. I know that sounds so corny and cheesy. As soon as I see them, especially the first couple of weeks, right? And they don't know where they're going, as in they've never been to my house before. They've just popped this baby out. They don't even really know how to hold it properly, and kind of the nappy bag as well. And just going out and just kind of giving them a hand. And I don't know, there's like this real sense of service. I feel like I'm sounding really corny and cheesy, but I don't know. I just love to be completely there for the mums. And I get asked all the time, would you do it? Because I currently do it 2 days a week, and and I get asked, would you do it 3 or 4 days a week? And I don't think I could, because I give so much to those 2 days. But yeah, I don't know. I just love everything about it, Carly. I don't know. And just, I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm cleaning up, I'm washing up, and I can hear just this roar, almost like this loud buzzing chatter from the garage. And it's just so fulfilling. It's just, I just love it.
I love that. And it's the service of others, right? I believe that's why we're here. We're here to connect to love as a source for everyone and ourselves, and to share what we know. Like that is why we're here, And so that's to others. It's like, it makes so much sense that you feel like you're standing in your full power of like where you should be, because you're gifting and you're learning and you're gifting, and it's like this kind of beautiful cycle. And I've seen it in the groups that I've been to with you, your own evolution, and so that's shared, and every time you sit in circle, you become a more authentic version of yourself.
Yeah,
And what a light, what a guiding light for those women. Like,
to be able to sit and just be your real self and not feel like you need to put on a show or put on, talk differently or whatever, that in itself is just such, like a relief. I got asked today, I just went to the grocery store and I pretty much live in activewear. I put this on for you, by the way.
Thank you.
I was wearing my activewear 20 minutes ago, and the lady behind who was serving me, well-intentioned, said, "Oh, you got a day off today." I was like, I was just kind of felt like saying, "No, this is just what I wear, like, to work," because this is me, man. Like, I just want to, just to be able to just be me and not worry about the other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's such a nice place. And you feel really grounded, like, I have arrived. This is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
And I will give what I can.
What has happened to you in the last 18 months? I love it.
I've been on the biggest spiritual awakening you've ever experienced. For some reason, I asked the universe to give it to me all in a real intense, short time. I've been underground. But anyway, enough about me. So you had Bella, and then the business was starting and starting to grow, and yet you're still finding the model that works for you as well. Like that takes time. That's another thing we should tell people. Like, it's not straight away what you think in the beginning. You have to evolve it over time.
It's changing again. It's about to change again. I'm moving out of the garage and, all of this stuff. So, don't be set on that idea. There needs to be some flexibility because the idea will likely change.
Yeah. It's like, as long as you have the right intention still and the ethos behind it, where you go is superfluous. Like, it doesn't really matter, So then you had your second, and was that a dream pregnancy? Were you working during that time?
I was still running my groups until the end, and similar pregnancy. Apart from just feeling like a whale, and I wasn't one of those. I'd always see those gorgeous women who just had this little soccer ball belly. That wasn't me, but that's fine. But in terms of sickness, didn't get sick. The birth was not great, as in it was very, very, very fast, and I went from nothing to here's your baby, and so my bits were like not very thankful about that, and there was no drugs, and I just really wanted the drugs. But it all happened too fast. I couldn't get them. So but she came out, and she completely different experience, and I felt like I was more confident in what I was doing, and there was none of that uncertainty and oh my gosh. I remember, and maybe you were the same with Ziggy, but when I first got home with Bella, and I was like, oh, what do I do? But with Margot, baby number 2, it was like, okay, so what are we cooking for dinner? Just pop her on the couch. All right, Bella, watch TV. So it was a lot easier. I was definitely in the love bubble second time around. Completely different, polar opposite.
The anxiety lifted.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's cool.
But to be honest with you, the anxiety, it kind of ebbs and flows. Like, I still have days now where I'm like, oh, I can feel this heaviness in my chest, and I can feel it coming, and I'm like, really try and channel my.
Do you give it lots of love? That's been my help. Like, when I'm having those days, and like I had someone on talking about cycles, menstrual cycles, like reading them, because man, my anxiety flares up like beforehand, and so being able to be like, it's okay, sitting with the inner child, love you, like like we actually have to dialogue with ourselves the way we dialogue with our children.
Yeah, perfectly said. Yes, when I do have those feelings come up, I don't try and resist it because it just makes it worse.
Yeah.
It just gives it more energy. Yeah. So you just kind of, oh yeah, there's that feeling again, and just let it just kind of come through, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's so
That's
nice.
what I do with it.
Yeah.
But I
And
actually do talk to it as well. I actually, I'm like, oh hey, there you are. There you are.